we have Makeup with Stephanie.
I was just screwing with you. Hey, did you know that peppermint dries out your lips more? Peppermint flavored chapstick? Some trash.
Wow.
Anyways, I didn't know that. That's how they get you. They put
I
peppermint in their
explained
chapstick in that
to
way.
you before.
No, you didn't say about the peppermint. You just said chapstick in
Well,
general.
chapstick, but I mean, it's all this
But
stuff.
then what do you use?
I don't think I've ever done that one.
Yeah, you have. Ah! What do you use to keep your lips chapped? Or
Water.
You use water. You just splash a little bit of water?
No. Your lips being chapped is a sign you're dehydrated.
Shut up.
If you're
So you drink water?
hydrated, your lips won't dry out.
Really?
Yeah.
Mom, you gotta drink some freaking water, man. I'm just saying, me too. I didn't know that. This is Chapstick's Total Hydration, and it's rose petal tint. It's moisture plus tint. So you didn't use chapstick at all?
What happens, I'll explain it, when you use all that stuff and what they're talking about is that's what it does. And it actually makes you dependent on it because when you put that stuff on, your body thinks, oh, we're getting moisture. So it stops producing moisture, sending it to your lips, and it makes it worse. Because then when that stuff dries out, then your lips crack and all the stuff. So then you put more of it on, and you're in the spin cycle. They make lots of money. You're drying out your lips unnecessarily and speeding up the process.
Good to know. And that's Makeup with Roy. I didn't know about the water thing, though. I gotta look into
Yeah,
that
it's
more.
a sign you're dehydrated. If your lips are always drying out,
Ma, drink some water.
you're not getting enough water.
My mom's lips are always dry. She's gonna kill me. How many times are you gonna call me out? Yep, we're good.
Waiting for the aforementioned There's that funky slide guitar music. It comes on every Monday through Friday, live at 5 on iNewswire. Finally got it on iNewswire daily on Facebook and YouTube, or iNewswire. The show's iNewswire daily.
What's our show called?
iNewswire daily.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
get it straight one of these times. On that,
I had to show up here.
that very special treat coming on later on in the show. Mason Weaver will be back on that. I know there's a lot of Mason Weaver fans out there, so
I'm one.
yes. So we're getting Mason's back on the trail. Hopefully, we'll have him back more often as we reset the year 2020 here on July 1st. It's going to be 2020.5. We're going to forget about all this madness that's going on. We're going to call it, what, Magnificent Monday on that.
Wow, you just threw that at me.
Yes, is it in on there? But, man, some of the things you just hear and see on this stuff is just, I mean, is like almost mind-boggling on the deal. But I wanted to start off with this because I know a lot of people equate racing with NASCAR, and while that is probably the biggest kahuna on the block for, and what most commonly people associate with racing, there's actually more people every week that go to your local Saturday night short track like Orange Show Speedway, Irwindale, Paris Auto Speedway, the Grand, which doesn't look like it's going to open anymore for Speedway. The Gumball Rally we saw might be the only Speedway one at that. But
Was that coming up again?
No, well, not till next year. It looks
okay.
like because it's in L.A. County.
I
And
was like, I feel like that just passed. When
now,
was that?
Now, Paris Raceway, the Speedway track that's out on the east end, or I mean out in the west end, might be opening up here pretty soon on that. And hopefully our other ones. But short tracks, dirt tracks, drag strips, paved ovals, your quarter mile, half mile Saturday night short track that may have 1,000, 3,000 or 4,000 each way. draws more fans every cumulatively than NASCAR or any of the big series do every week. But a lot of people don't pay attention to that, or that, you know, but they're the ones that do it right, and I believe this is I-141 Speedway in Wisconsin. This is one of their biggest races of the year's modified race. And I think it paid $10,000 to win. You might say that out there, but it's pretty big. Draws a lot of heavy hitters from the local short track race. Even a couple of NASCAR stars who didn't even make the main event. Kenny Schrader and Kenny Wallace, which have retired basically from NASCAR racing, but they still run Saturday nights all across the country in modifieds like this all across the nation. They didn't even make the main event in this. That's how many heavy hitters in this division was in. This is them coming out for the main event on the Clash, coming up on that. And this is how I think we should be doing it. So get ready to roll this. Here's the video coming. This is on Speed Shift TV. So we're going to let it rock and roll.
Those of you that have been with us, or if you've watched on Speed Shift TV, here in a few moments you might have those cameras ready for the 4-abreast parade lap. The old Dragon's Breath might show up tonight. If you've seen it before, we're just giving you a fair warning. If you've never seen it, well, you're in for a treat.
There's all the guys coming out with 24 cars, all with American flags, and they're going to do the 4-abreast salute to the fans, all that. 6 rows, 4 deep, running around the speedway, which is an awesome sight. But this is what I believe we should. This is how you bring everyone together. And when we're doing that, this is how we are all one. When the flag is up and we are the United States of America, there's no
24 strong, 50 laps nonstop.
No, like I've always said, it's always really family oriented out there.
The way it should be done.
It just
Duke
feels
it
like
out and
everybody's
put
out there
it all
having a
on the
great time
line.
together. Like you can go and talk to anybody out there, and you're not going to be judged or worried about the being
Yes.
upset.
As the announcer said, this is the way it should be done.
Look through the field. You've got Iowa, Wisconsin, California, Minnesota, Arizona, Nebraska, Missouri, Arkansas, all represented in tonight's A main event.
See how many states were represented in that. You're missing a lot out there, and I think you're missing, if you don't partake in, this is what the great thing about racing is to me, is when you do this, these guys are competitors, and a couple laps are going to be trying to, do everything they can to win. But in this moment,
Field coming around here one more
24
time.
as
They'll
one
be
as they
set
do the
now,
4
making their
wide
way into
salute.
turn number 1 and 2.
Four wide salute, 24 cars
Beautiful
with 24
sight, the
American
stars and
flags.
stripes on all 24 strong. Our Tri-County Heating IMC Modifieds. Look at that, down the back straightaway.
Now, isn't that an awesome sight?
Well, race fans, we started with 76. We've got them narrowed down to 24 of the best IMC Modified racers from around the country. 750 to start, 10,000 to win. How about it? Here they come off turn number 4.
Here they go
Clash
in front of the
at the
crowd.
Creek 12. Let them hear it for your IMCA Modifieds.
There you go. So I wanted to show you that because, again, I just thought that was a great salute to the fans they did there at taking the 4 wide, which you'll see. If you go to the sprint car races at Paris Auto Speedway at the start of the main event, most sprint cars, they do the 4 wide salute. But that's the first time I've seen it with the 24 American flags like that done. I think that was very appropriate for the times we are sitting in.
No, I totally agree. I think that's really an awesome event that they did that and kept it going too, especially during this time. Really quick, not to change the subject, but I'm going to change it. Diane writes in, Mayor of Seattle told police to take back precinct just now. Looking for more information. Thank you, Diane, for filling us in on that.
Well, it's about freaking time they got off the dime and said not only the precinct, they ought to be clearing out this whole Chaz Chop or whatever the heck it is. They should be there. The whole thing. What is it? And we got the story here from that, and we'll play that. This is appropriate. Oh, they're all about peace and love and all this, and the protesters are not doing this. Shooting in Seattle zone, protest zone, leaves one dead. Police say violent crowd denied them entry. This is probably why this is from KIRO. This is up in Seattle, the local Seattle ABC affiliate up there. So we've got this video ready and queued up to go. So here it is. Here's the report on this is why they should have not let this go. What, a week, 2 weeks ago when this started, they should have stomped them out like the whole thing right in the beginning. So here we go.
For justice and an end to racism, but in some cities, those messages have been overshadowed as a wave of violence has left several people dead.
A wave of violence sweeping across the country. In Seattle, one person was shot and killed in the newly formed Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, a section of the city taken over by protesters. Body cam video shows officers trying to respond to the scene, but they say demonstrators became aggressive and didn't let them enter. Instead, medics from the protests took the victims to a medical center.
And this needs to stop.
In Chicago, 9 people shot and killed, including 4 children.
The 3-year-old that was fatally struck in the back.
A 3-year-old?
60 others were hurt. Community leaders are offering a $2,500 reward for information about the 3-year-old's murder.
Shut this west side down until we find out who discharged that weapon and took the life of this baby.
In Minneapolis,
I don't know if they're breathing or not.
I saw people just shooting just 30, 40, 50 shots. I don't know. It sounded like an automatic gun.
1 person died and 11 more were injured during a shooting at a crowded street.
We felt and heard bullets actually whizzing by our heads.
Minneapolis chief of police says the city is seeing an increase in violence in the city.
The violence has to stop.
The mayor of Seattle says the city will work with law enforcement and the protesters to make sure the autonomous zone remains a safe environment.
Safe
Protests
environment
around the country, continue as
that they're going on across this whole deal. What are they talking about? From Seattle to Chicago, which has been a hellhole for decades, to Minneapolis, which is...
Chicago is?
Yes. They murder 600 a year for years. It's the murder capital of the world. Yeah, and you want to take the cops out? You want to blame the cops for that? You want your kids killed? Listen to the freaking news report. You want to take the cops out? You want to occupy this stuff? As the man said, this blank has got to stop. And it needs to stop. Yes, it should have never started. In Seattle, when they went in to try and occupy, or they tried to take over the police force, they should have jumped in there with everybody they had and knocked that stuff out. Trump said, we will help you. We will be the first in line to help you straighten anything
I wonder
anywhere
why he's
in
not
the
out
U.S.
there yet.
Because they would have to invite them in. They could use the USA National Guard. It would be flaky to do the military because of
like Stephen wrote in, that's where the National Guard needs to be.
And all that stuff. And
that's a good point.
Yes, that's where the Seattle, because each state has their own National Guard. That's what
they do?
They're for. Yes.
Good to know. See, I learn something new every day. It's great.
Actually, the California National Guard has a headquarters out here at March Air Reserve Base.
Good to know.
Of that. But yeah, there is a...
What is the National Guard?
There is a United States National Guard, too, which can operate as law enforcement inside the borders of that,
Is National Guard like the top ranking?
It's just a force. They have F-14s or F-16s or stuff. It's the state's own defense, emergency use. They pulled National Guard out when the riot started, or after the riot started, and then they finally pulled the California National Guard out.
They handle like disaster kind of stuff.
Disaster stuff. They're kind of an all around anything for disasters or things are getting out of hands, riots, whatever. Within the borders of your state, each National Guard that's in the state, which is usually under the control of the governor, is there for that kind of force, for that kind of situation in each individual state.
I knew that. I just wanted, for clarification for other people. I think Stephen was a little confused on what was going on.
Right. I bet he was.
Don't mention it, Stephen. Say I got you.
Of that. But no, it's crazy of what we have going on this whole deal on that. That's why we have to we have to stop this stuff. And that's why you have to stop. When the riots started, they should have been in there right at the beginning and flushed it out.
Definitely.
In New York, in Chicago, in Minneapolis, in Seattle, in California, everywhere, they should have stomped it out right then. When they tried to take over the Chaz, whatever zone is, they should have went in there with they should have called out the cavalry. I'm sure if they would have called people from Idaho, Oregon, or California, or law enforcement, or Trump, and anybody, they'd have had as much force as they would have needed to handle that situation and anywhere else.
Right.
When we are in, that goes back to the deal, and that's why I showed the modified racers with the American flags. When we are under attack, we all come together, and we will stop the attack. We may have differences about other stuff, but when there is a threat, there is no black or white or brown. We all bleed the same color red.
Right.
You know, and those kids, the 3-year-old and the 4 kids that died, you know, they're dead over this stuff.
I know, that's horrible. I can't believe, like, children. But why are children out there, though? That brings me to that point, too.
It doesn't matter. It isn't,
No,
you
either-
allow this situation to keep going, and it's just going to perpetuate. It might, you know, pray tell, it may be your kid. You know, you may walk into a situation with your kids, and something just all hell breaks loose. I mean, because they're allowing this
but
stuff.
a lot of people are bringing their kids out to protest with them. I think that's just, like, the worst thing you can ever do.
Well, yeah, but again, if you were stomping out the violent and whatever protests on that, then you wouldn't have to have these. Then these problems would not exist.
Right.
By allowing it to happen, or backing off the cops on this stuff, or thinking it's going away,
So they
it
allow
is not.
this to happen, but they don't allow COVID to kind of go through and happen. I don't get it. Our world seems a little backwards these days.
Again, and Governor Hairgel had an update on that today.
What would he update on?
Of that. Oh, he was whining about the masks and all the other
What's he whining
enchilada.
about?
Oh, well, you've got to wear the mask. Cases, but what? Hospitalizations were up 15%, ICUs. But flip on this, and you can't read the chart very well. You notice how the charts are getting real small, and you can't hardly read them. And I'm blowing it up, but if you get to blow it up anymore, it just distorts it all up. Notice how when we started, the positivity rate was up to 40%, and that's because there was very little testing, and they were only testing people who were sick. Notice how they tested up, and that was back in April. Now we're into June. Look at all the tests that have went on. Our positivity rate last week was 4.5%. It's now 4.8%. That's what he's using for justification to make this mask mandatory deal. And along with the other, 20 deaths in the state
But
of California
Are
yesterday.
those deaths from wearing a mask and it's hot
Well,
as hell and breathing in their own
Yeah,
stuff?
no, it's probably my opinion
I can't
of
wear
it.
the mask in the heat. There's no way. I'm going to pass out.
My opinion of it is they did not let it go through the cycle of that, or let it run its course. The masking and the social distancing and everything else, and closing the schools, which was the dumbest thing they did, was going through that. Did not let it spread through. So now it's coming back, and of course, you keep everybody cooped up, then you let them out. Well, yeah, it's going to spread. The amount of cases, as they have said, are always going to be the same. It's just, social distancing might stretch the curve out, so the hospitals do that, which we are not overwhelming, and we have not overwhelming. Even when New York, where it was 20 times worse than here, we didn't overwhelm them. So there is no excuse to do this kind of stuff that they're subjecting us to, in my opinion, of that. And they're just making the problem worse by doing this stuff. So here's the chart. Flip this up on the deal. So this is the peak this is May 6, 2,700 deaths in the USA. Followed by, this is the peak of the curve, then April 21 to May 6, 2,600 per day. And you can see the chart, and you can see how she's up. Follows the curve like the Israeli professor said, for 70-day curve. Here it goes up, about 45 days it peaks, and then it does. Look at what today, 283 deaths across the whole United States yesterday on the first day of summer, June 21st, in the longest daylight hours of the year. So there is no reason to be panicking on this stuff. Let it run its course. I mean,
I agree with you because in the U.S., normal, we're open, everything's functioning. How many deaths would there be a day? It would be more than that. Wouldn't it be?
yeah, there is no pandemic. There is no crisis. People are not dropping in the streets of that. We are over the worst of the deal, of this wave or whatever. If it comes back, doesn't come back. Only thing we're seeing now is a little bit of, okay, because you kept everybody cooped up, now they're all like, now they're just like, everybody's like, they're out just going everywhere. I mean, if I judge by traffic this weekend and today,
Oh my goodness.
I mean, this is like before this all started in March. I mean, traffic around here was like everywhere.
Right.
I mean, there was no deal. But there is nothing to be panicking about. But what they are doing is keeping, like I say, we'll talk with Mason Weaver here 'cause he'll be on here in a bit. We'll get his take on this, but we'll pick a little bit of that up on that. But I want to get to Donald J. Trump, El Presidente of the United States, number 45. And I don't care if you don't like him, anywhere in between. He is the most entertaining and honest and the president we have that talks like us every day, as you're talking, sitting at the bar, discussing over lunch, talking to your friends, to coworkers, BSing about things, just the general stuff. I can list him. Hair gel sits there. I mean, that guy can drone on and on boringly about a subject like
Can't listen to him
nobody's
talk.
business.
His voice annoys me.
Yes.
And now I
that
find myself
kinda
yelling
like
at the TV.
monotone, just blend and just talk
And the way
and
he was
say
doing
nothing.
the hand thing, he was
Yes.
like so gangster, and I was like, "Dang, get a boy."
Yes, he's a. But this is the money quote. This is there. We had I think it was a plane contract for like $5.6 billion. So they come in. Boeing had a contract to build these planes. They'd done the research. We probably fronted them probably $500 million to do those deals. Comes time, okay, we're ready. Plans are built. We got the prototypes done. We're ready to build them. Sign the contract for $5.6 billion. Trump says, no way. There's got to be a 3 in front of that. He said, we can't do it for that. Cancel the contract. So they go back and forth. They're going back and forth. Boeing comes down to about $5 billion even, and then 4.8. And then they're going back and forth on this, da-da-da-da-da. So this was Donald J. Trump at the Oklahoma rally Saturday night on the deal for that. And this is Trump at his finest. And I mean, I hit the floor when he said this.
Did you really?
I said, what? Sir, we made a good deal. $250 million to Ken. You mean if we don't buy the plane, we have to hand them $250 million? That's not good, right? Look at these two guys. They're looking. By the way, that's like a good story compared to some I could tell you, like with aircraft carriers. So they said $250 million, or I always say this, or around that number, because I'm off by a little bit. They say, oh, he exaggerates. I look at numbers all day long. That's what I look at for years now, for my whole life when you think of it. $250 million cancellation fee, sir. He was very proud of himself. What a great deal. I say, General, don't cancel. Don't cancel. Just tell him I don't want the planes. Don't put anything in writing. Don't put it in writing, General. Why, sir? Because I don't want to pay $250.
Yes.
Do you hear that, Jim? Jim Inhofe, he's great. You hear that, Jim? You know that story. He does a great job. So here's what happened, the bottom line. Boeing says, no way, no way, no way. The next week they say, no way we're doing it. The next week they said, how about $5 billion? I said, no way, no way. The next week they said 4.8. I said, nope, it's got to have a 3 on the front of it. Don't you understand, you dumb son of a bitch? Don't you understand?
Okay, where else do you hear that from a president. He's talking to the Boeing executive on that, and they were at 4.8. Long story short, he gets down. They finally agreed to $4 billion even. Trump saved $1.6 billion on the contract by negotiating.
Why didn't we get these planes though?
Huh?
Why did we want?
Because
the
we're
planes to
probably
begin with?
replacing military planes or whatever. They do this. That's why the Defense Department or the military budget is like $750 billion. Because we're constantly, it costs a lot of money. Now, there is a lot of fat in there, and we can get into the nation building, and I've said they are cutting some of it, but they could probably cut about $250 billion out of that right now if we'd stop the nation building and occupying other countries and stuff like that, but that's a subject for a different day. But that's a typical contract of, they're probably ordering 100 new fighter jets or something, or cargo planes, or refueling tankers, or whatever they're buying, which are very, if you're ordering 100 planes like that, they're very expensive.
He said it's 2 planes. Stephen Wrightson says it's 2 planes.
Well, whatever
One
it
of
is.
them's Air Force One.
Oh, is that the new Air Force Ones? Okay. Yeah, they're replacing the 747s. Is that what it is? So, the president's plane is going to be very expensive because of, all the stuff they got to put in it and the protection and of that. Of what they all put together of that. But yeah, you're down to that. But that's the deal. And he snookered them on that. You see, that's how they put that in there, because that was probably the cost to design and do all the preliminary work was like $250 million. So if you cancel the contract, Boeing's not out that chunk of change or whatever, setting it up or whatever. So that's why there's a fee in there to cancel it out. So Trump said, okay, well, just don't tell them we're canceling it. Just tell them we're not going to do it. And saved $1.6 billion on the contract for the new Air Force Ones. So that's how typical politicians who are not familiar with negotiating or business running or got guts enough to do something like that, they just signed the contract. Congress people, oh, yeah, military, we got to have this, yada, yada, yada. And everybody says, oh, yeah. Well, yeah, they're splitting up all the money somehow. Going into campaign contributions, Boeing makes extra money. It's like how much they could do with $1.6 billion. They obviously didn't need it. That was just gravy train over that, because they're not losing money on the deal at $4 billion. But they were making a hell of a profit at 5.6.
Yeah.
And that goes through all of government. Government is run that way. It's run very inefficiently. And that's what we have to stop of that. And that's what Trump is doing across the board on all this stuff. And voila, if we would have more politicians like that had enough backbone to stand up and say, no, we're not doing that. Oh, if there's an occupation, we'll go in. Seattle, we want to go help you. Chicago, we'll send in whatever we got in the federal government to help you. Minneapolis, wherever, Los Angeles, New York, we will help you stomp that stuff out. Just give us the green light. That's what's called leadership. What they're doing, the mayor of Seattle backing it off, and Garcetti backing off the cops, and Chicago, which has been a disaster for many decades, and New York City and all that stuff of the murders and stuff and mayhem going on that. It's incredulous that they keep doing that kind of stuff to us each and every day, because we have to get rid of that. That's how you stop this stuff. No matter what, you're negotiating contracts, you're negotiating, you're in there if there's an emergency or something needs to be done.
Hi, Sean.
You got to get in there and do it. You can't stand back and stand in fear or paralyzed of what's going on across this whole thing, because that's what gets us into these troubles. That's what gets 4 kids, one of them 3-year-old, killed in the streets of Chicago. And the murders, whatever there was, I think it was a dozen of them just in these occupied, riotous areas that are going on over here. That's what's bad. That's the incredulous part of what's going on in our country that needs to stop. we will implode if we keep on this path that we're on.
Hi, Sean. Why isn't he talking to me?
Because he isn't hooked up yet.
Hi, guys.
There he
is.
is.
Finally got it hooked up.
Oh my God, that was
All
so
right,
loud.
sorry about that. Here we go,
Just in the
guys.
nick of time.
Wow.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
Comes on every Monday through Friday, 5:30 to 6 on the Mighty Met, 1490 KMET on a magnificent Monday.
What the hell was that?
You didn't like my intro?
No, it scared the crap out of me. You and Sean. Oh, they're too loud. Anyway.
Well, you had to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I could do my NPR voice.
No, that's so boring.
The sweet sounds of the soothing talk that's going to come out of the airwaves.
Nothing soothing about your voice.
Well, there you go. That's why I say I can't.
Hey, where's your mom at? I haven't seen her.
Mom's not around? Maybe her computer blew up.
Wow. Maybe. Well, you owe her a new computer then, son.
Of that.
Stephen writes in, that was awesome, Roy.
Thank you, Stephen.
Stephen really likes you. You're going to have Stephen come in studio one day.
Well, we might do that. We'll have the... Maybe we'll get the... maybe we will start... We need to really actually start pushing the phone call and stuff so we can get an interaction between the audience.
You think anybody wants to call us and talk to us?
Well, we're going to have a guest on here pretty quick.
Yeah, Mason Weaver does.
You're giving away the...
beg him. Oh, was I not supposed to say that?
Well, yeah, you're kind of taking... Well, no, we did. And those of you who are lucky enough or prudent enough, as Poppy Bush used to say, of that, they get the first entertaining half hour of that. And all of you that do... The first when we start on IE Newswire on YouTube. The first segments of that are absolutely the best ones we do, and most of you don't get to see them. So go to IE Newswire on YouTube and just click on the first 3 or 4 minutes of that. And I'd like to get your take, because I think you'll be very entertained about what's coming on. But we got him back. Very special guest we've had on for many, many, many years. He's absolutely, in my book, one of the greatest persons rolling on in the face of the earth. Not only does he actually have a heart, he's got a brain.
He does.
And a very big one.
It's way bigger than Roy's, too.
Well, I don't insult the man like that. But
I said it's bigger than Roy's.
Yeah, but that might not be a good comparison to go by on that.
Yeah, true.
But no, he's in his book, Leave the Plantation, has probably never been more important now. He's got a new website, leavetheplantation.org. But on top of that, he's authored many books. You've heard him many times. But even, I think, maybe even more important than that, and my favorite book that he wrote was the 7 Secrets to Success. It's a very short read. It's very to the point. And it will show you how you create. The only way to success is when you create your opportunity, and he gives you the keys to do it. But after a while being off the air for a bit, welcome back to the show, Mason Weaver. You're on IE Newswire Daily with Stephanie and Roy.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much. However, I did not hear what that young lady said. What did he say?
I said you're way smarter than Roy.
And I said that might not be that might be a cut, because that's not a very high standard to go by.
That's not a high standard at all. What is that?
Yes.
But that's okay. That's why she's my favorite.
There you go.
You're my favorite too, Mason.
Man, it seems like the whole world's just going completely nuts here anymore. From the occupations to the riots and the whole thing. But we just before you come on at the bottom of the hour, we played the clip of, I don't know if you caught the Trump rally in Oklahoma, but we played the clip of Trump and the about the contract with Boeing and the new Air Force Ones and how he did it. But when he said with the Boeing deal, when he said, when they were negotiating, he said, I ain't paying that much. I ain't paying $5.6 billion. You needed $3 billion for it, and they're coming down to 4.8. And he says, what about having a 3 in front of this? Don't you dumb son of a blanks understand? And I mean, I almost hit the floor when I see that. But he saved us $1.6 billion. He got the contract for the new Air Force Ones from 5.6 down to $4 billion.
How dare him save the country money?
Yes. And what I've said,
Democrats trying to go broke.
Yes, and what I've said about that, and I want to get your take about that, all across the board, if we had, from our city councils to our state legislatures to governors to President of the United States Congress, if we had people like Donald J. Trump in office, your tax rate would probably be half of or less than what it is right now.
Yes, sir. The government is in business to waste. My first job out of college was I became a senior negotiator for the Department of Energy. I negotiated nuclear contracts, solar energy contracts, geothermal contracts, windmills, those windmills up there by the desert going out from San Diego to Las Vegas. I went into my first multi-million dollar contract with General Electric. It was a 15-year fast breeder reactor program out of Japan, and it had many contracts on that same subject. I negotiated the first reduction in fee. I thought I was doing a great job. My first multi-million dollar contract, and I reduced the fee by $275,000, wrote up my report, submitted to my supervisor, and looked at me and said, now what are we going to do with $275,000? What are we going to do with this money we saved? He was upset. He told me to go back in and add more engineering hours to eat the money up. Because those department heads, it is a negative on your career if you save money. If you ask for a certain budget at the beginning of the year, when September rolls around and you have not spent that money, Congress punishes you next year by reducing your next year budget. So they start dumping money and sending people on fake business trips, 2 weeks in D.C. with a rental car and no place to go, no office, no apartments, nothing. They waste money. They are punished for saving the government money. It should be the opposite. Guess what would happen if they gave you a 10% bonus for every dollar you saved?
Yeah. I mean, it's mind-boggling sometimes when you watch the sausage getting made, i.e. the government legislation that goes on in that. And like you experienced to that. I mean, you're in there thinking you did a great job on this, and they're like, well, no, we can't have this. We're not splitting that pot of money over here up on the side over here. That
we're not going to send it back to Congress. No, we can't do that. Send the money back. We'll get it on next year.
Yes.
But you mentioned all the strife
in
the country now. I really want to talk about that because I don't see it. As a matter of fact, I bet you nobody in the studio actually sees it. You go home and turn on TV, and you see it. But all day long, at work, at lunch, going to the ball game, going to restaurants, going to the store, you're around black people and white people, old and young people, all day long, every day, and you do not see it. But when you go home, you turn on TV, and you think the whole world is going crazy. So you don't believe your eyes. We've been lied to and been deceived. You cannot believe anything you see on TV. That's why they call their product, they call it production. They are actually setting themselves up to hypnotize you. That's why I say the next program will be this, the next program will be that. They are programming us to think that there's a problem, there's stress, and they got all this. And by the way, it's never, ever, ever what it appears to be. This is not about Black Lives Matter. This is not about Antifa. It's not about a black man being choked for the F. Minnesota. This is about funding leftist organizations. I'm getting emails from companies I do business with now saying, we're donating part of this to fight social justice, which means we're going to donate to liberal causes. And so you're going to find these people enriched and emboldened. You have government now bowing down to them, giving them control of certain cities. That's the real problem. There's not a black and white problem. There's a liberal conservative problem here.
Exactly. And just as you played that, and we played it at the top of the show, there was a race at a local third-mile dirt track up there, big race, 10,000 to win with all that. And all the guys out there, all the 24 main event starters out there were carried American flags at 24 and 4 abreast, 6 rows deep on a parade lap going around as we're showing, and they're collecting up the flags as they're getting ready to start. And that's what I wanted to show that again because you hit it right on the head. The vast majority of this country, there is no strife, there is no problem, there is no injustice. There is, it's this manufactured 1% that's trying to destroy this country.
They want us to think of ourselves as enemies. I was at Walmart a little while ago, and I came out of Walmart walking down the aisle. I saw this older guy arguing with this young man. He was angry, animated, arguing with him and pointing to his car. I didn't see the car until I got closer. When I got close to the car, the guy saw me coming. He got happy. He saw me like he had an ally. He said, "What do you think about this guy? What do you think about this guy?" And I walked up, and the young guy had a Volkswagen Beetle full of Klan stuff, the KKK bumper stickers and the Confederate flag, big old Confederate flag on the bumper of his car. The back window was pasted with racial things. And he said, "What do you think about this guy? What do you think about this guy?" And the young man looked at me. I turned to the old guy. I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Argentina." I said, "Well, welcome to America, dude. This guy has a right to think what he wants to think. Why are you talking to this guy in public like he's your child? This guy has a right to feel like he wants to feel. I don't have a problem with it. Why do you have a problem with it?" And the white guy shook my hand. I said, "Man, you can be as big a racist because racism has zero effect on me today. It doesn't affect me one bit. People can be racist all day long. It doesn't stop me from making $1 or going any place or enjoying my life or buying my home or buying my car or going on vacation. A racist is a racist. So what?"
I wish more would adopt that way of thinking that you're not going to cure every ill of the world.
It's not an ill. It's an incorrect belief system, but it's not. This is of no effect. What these Black Lives Matter people are saying, they're saying they have a low self-esteem. They're saying they don't feel qualified to compete with regular Americans. They feel that every problem black people has requires white people to do something. That's what they're saying. Last weekend, Father's Day weekend, over 100 people were shot in Chicago. But you will not see that on the news. 102 people were shot, 14 were murdered, including a 3-year-old son of a man sitting in a car. If Black Lives Matter, that's more people than all the cops killed all last year across the country. And now you got one city. So it seems like to me, if the Black Lives Matter, they should be up there marching against the Bloods and the Crips. But instead, they're trying to perpetrate this idea that every problem black people have requires white people to do something. That is a low self-esteem attitude.
I couldn't agree with you more. That's what I wonder. What do you think that I'm doing that's not giving you, that's not allowing you to live the life you want to live?
Yep.
Tell me.
I was talking to a doctor friend of mine yesterday on the phone, and she's a very educated woman, went to Yale. She's bright. She's beautiful. She's articulate. She's strong, good businesswoman. And she is telling me she's a liberal. She's telling me about the plight of black people and poor people and how white folks don't care and Republicans don't care. I'm saying, well, if you live in a Democrat-controlled community, you're going to be poor as a black person. They will see to it that you're poor. And she said, well, no, that's not true. But I said, well, let me ask you a question, doctor. Where you live now? Is that a Republican neighborhood or a Democratic neighborhood? She said, it's a Republican neighborhood. I said, why aren't you living down in the hood? Why aren't you living in a Democratic-controlled black neighborhood? You know why. Crime, drugs, pimps, and hoes. That's why you don't be down there. Let's face the fact. Democrats breed poverty, drugs, depression, and they also breed more Democratic voters.
There you go. What do you call Maxine Waters?
Maxine Mercury Waters.
There you go. The poverty pimp, and a lot of
poverty
them are
pimp.
Yes.
That's my girlfriend. That's my woman.
Yeah.
I've been single now for a few months. I'm a widow now. That's a whole different part of my world I'm looking at now, and I'm traveling around my friends, and they're asking me, okay, Mason, when are you gonna start? When are you gonna start? And I'm not ready to start yet. So I'm talking, and one guy asked me, Mason, I know so and so over here. She's single. She's widowed like you, same age, but she's liberal. And I said, well, why would I want to talk to a liberal? Well, she's a nice girl. She's this. I said, I don't breed out of my species.
Of that on the deal. No, it's again, it's just like the whole where I see the what I don't want to see happen is, and I see it happening across the board, and it does a lot, which distresses me, is the minority of 1 or 2% is shaping the narrative, which is, like you said, totally out of the realm of reality.
Yep.
Of what's going on. And if we allow them to win, then it's going to be the destruction of us all.
Well, they're not winning. Don't forget, folks, you cannot, it is never what you see on TV. Their goals are not what you see on TV. The actions are not what you see. It's a mirage. You've been hypnotized. I was in Raleigh about a month ago, and I went to a little outside mall. And I saw cop cars down on the one end of the mall, a couple of cop cars, and I thought it was a demonstration, people standing around out there, and I went away. 4 hours later, I come back, and they're still there. And they happened to park right in front of them. It was the Antifa, I call it the pre-riot meeting of Antifa, Black Lives Matter. So I sat there in my car, I observed, I got out and I looked, and I observed that these guys were instructing them on what was going to happen. Black Lives Matter, white instructors telling them what they're going to do and how angry they should be. And the cops are sitting, one cop car was right next to me. He had to hear what they were saying, because I'm hearing it. And they're saying how they're going to march peacefully to the area they want to riot. They're going to put your axe handles in your pocket, in your pants leg. Get the bandanas are covering their face. You can wear a bandana as you go in, because they know you're peaceful when you're showing your face. And you put the bandana up at 8:30, and you start your burning and your looting, and they even had the stores outlined where they're going to hit. And I'm watching them and said, that's a conspiracy to commit arson. It's a conspiracy to damage public property and steal and loot. Why aren't they being arrested? It seems like this is an orchestrated plan. I predicted in Atlanta it would take 2 days before a demonstration starts, because it takes 2 days to gather the army from across the country and fly them in town.
Yes, I mean it's crazy of some of the things that are going on. I mean, I'm almost ready to the big time sports. I'm almost ready to sign off on all of them. If
Except
they're
for
going
NASCAR.
Yep. Well, even them, and I mean, they're a little bit on they're even starting. They're not allowing fans in the stands, although they are racing, which is better than the other ones are doing slightly. But to hear what's going on in football, basketball, oh well, I think it was one of them said, well, it's more important that we deal with the social justice. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
You know, I got a question. What happened to you white people? Really, what happened? I understand. I mean, dang, you don't own any slaves. Why are you paying the price? What happened to the Romans? Romans took no crap from nobody. What happened to the Vikings? Where are you Vikings at now? You're being pushed around with these accusations not true. You're finding safe spaces. What is up? What's up with that? We need you to join the battle. I'm a capitalist. We have to defend the flag, defend the nation. These people are attacking us. My granddaughter just called me from the post office. She got cursed out at the post office because she didn't have a mask on by some woman. I asked her, is she still there? Put her on the phone. I mean, she had left. Oh, no, we had a great conversation. We are apologizing for being right.
Exactly.
White folks, stop, push back, tell me crazy. Let's laugh at them. Let's laugh at them instead of trying to debate with them.
It gets to because I've said this, and the one to my left gets mad when I do it. But I said they are the ones that got the poverty paints, the Maxine Waters, the Black Lives Matters, the all that. They're the ones that got their knee on
hate
your
it when you
neck.
say that.
And that's exactly you have to, like Trump does. You have to get back in their face with this stuff, else they will run you over.
I wrote Trump a letter, open letter to the president when they changed that date from Juneteenth to the 20th. I said, Mr. President, please, take the opportunity. Come on, brother. Take the opportunity to discuss Juneteenth. Juneteenth was when the Republican Army marched into Texas and freed black folks from the Democratic Army. That's what we're celebrating, the victory over Democrats. And you got Democrats now calling for a national holiday for Juneteenth. These fools are sitting there they're saying that, let's celebrate when the Republicans sent 360,000 of their sons to fight their brothers to free black folks from Democrats. It was a Democrat defeat by the Republican Army. He should have said that.
Exactly, and that's what we said. I pointed that out. I said, "What are you talking about?" That was and I said that. What was it up from 1869 or whatever when that happened to up to 1960-64? Most blacks voted Republican because they are the ones that saved us. It was Johnson, basically, in his Great Society and his giveaway thing that started this whole nightmare snowball train to hell.
But see, you're being logical. You're being logical, but
I know,
liberals are emotional.
Excuse me for doing that.
They simply go up and give a cliche. When we changed, Republicans changed, so they changed. My response is real simple. Democrats control every ghetto in America. They can control every city that has a ghetto. You have Democrats in control, and all they breed is poverty, drugs, and gangs, and more Democrats. They are the party of misery. You can plot out the black neighborhoods across the country by plotting on a map the location of Planned Parenthood.
Exactly, it's incredulous of what's going on, and I agree with you. The amount of so-called, and I don't even like using the ethnic terms, but the amount of white people that are backing up and not telling the truth or challenging this stuff is distressing to me. And they need to. I mean, maybe I am really that stupid or whatever, not wrapped real tight. But I mean, as long as as long as there's air going in my lungs, I'm going to stand up for what's right, and I'm going to tell it like it is.
Well, we have on our website, it's okay to leavetheplantation.org. We have, for all you guilty white people, a certificate of forgiveness from a descendant of slaves. For all your guilty ancestors of the past, we'll forgive you of your sins of your ancestors. And you're now free. We're equal to take our part in America, and you can leave that guilt alone. You have been forgiven by a descendant of slaves. So therefore, folks, we're done.
You got it. Man, that's it. Go to leavetheplantation.org, get his books. I'll give you about a minute to wrap it up. May the great Mason Weaver.
Yeah, we had a lot of people that really adore you on here, and they
What'd
really
you say?
want to know those names of those
I
books.
get my girlfriend. What you say?
Yes.
And so we have a lot of people talking on here. They really like everything you're saying tonight.
Oh,
They really want to
great.
hear a list of your
You know,
books.
It's called the truth, folks. The truth feels good, doesn't it?
Yes.
It feels great. Let's come out the water. We built an organization to bring those liberals who want to change to a place of safety. They can get information and knowledge. Bring your liberal friends. Join us because they're going to cut us off of internet. LeaveThePlantation.org. Join our group. We got a lot of things planned for you. We're going to have a site for single Christian conservatives to find marriage because that's the foundation of our nation. I'm not trying to find girlfriends. I'm not getting a destination to find a date. God does not give grown men girlfriends. We're going to find spouses and start raising our people in our own culture. It's called the American culture, and we're going to force America to be great again.
Amen, Mason Weaver. I couldn't have said it better, and could never say it as good as you do. We'll have to do it again real soon. Thanks for your time.
Stay right or be left. We're going to go to victory, folks. God bless you.
You got it.
Bye, Mason.
Man, that was it was good to have Mason back, and hopefully we'll have him back in the rotation on that. As he mentioned that, and he, about 6 months ago, his wife passed away of that, and that's the reason why he's been a lot of hit and miss on that, of coming on, but hopefully here soon, or he's getting back in the swing of things, and we'll have him on as we usually did for about 2 or 3 years on that. Great guy. Short story on that. It was during the campaign, I think, of 2016. I just started on the radio here, and I ran across this guy, saw him on CNN or Fox News or something, and I went through found him on his Facebook page or something, or Twitter or something, and I said, "Hey, would you come on the radio show?" He said, "Sure." And
He's great. He's always so honest. Like,
yes.
You really feel comfortable when you're talking with him.
And we've been doing it, and yeah, he's not only is he very intelligent stuff, he's very entertaining on that, and
his books, they're really good.
Yes.
Plug his books again. We have people
Leave the Plantation one. That's his most famous one, but like I said, the one I think is my favorite is the 7 Principles to Success, and it's an easy read.
It's a good one too, because it explains how he got from where he was to where he is now. It's really cool,
and it probably
it has a lot of great advice in there too.
Yes, and you can probably read it in less than an hour. I mean, that's how succinct. You're thinking it's not a War and Peace novel. It doesn't drone on about literary subjects or this or that or the price of tea in China or whatever. He tells you what like it is, to the point, as only Mason Weaver can, and you put those in. You put those 7 principles in, and your chances of success went up exponentially on that.
And we are currently putting the link in the comments for leavetheplantation.org, so you can find it there on the thread.
That was a very fast hour.
No, it wasn't, because I'm dying. It's so hot in here. I'm not ready for summer. Not hot?
No. I don't understand people who... Hot is like 120 out in the middle of Death Valley. That's hot.
Yeah, you're insane, dude.
Well, that goes without saying. We'll be back tomorrow on the show. So until then,
we're gone. To find air conditioning.